Hey everybody, I'm Aggressive Tomato, and welcome to today's Tomato Review. If you're like me, you like a good RPG. Especially an RPG which is just fun to sit down and play. Jumping into an amazing world on any RPG is a great thing. And today, we're going to jump into the world of Quest of Dungeons. Regardless of your opinion on your 2D RPG style, or if you think RPGs that are in the 2D form are bad, that's up to you. But as for me, I think this is a great way to show off one of the greatest strengths of Quest of Dungeons, and that is its simplicity. It's easy to understand. When you see something, it looks like the thing that it's supposed to be. Sword looks like a sword. Staff looks like a staff. It's very, very easy to identify what objects are what without having to go in full over-the-top kind of 16-bit super graphics. Now, the actual story of Quest of Dungeons is extremely simplistic. Basically, a dark wizard has stolen all the light and is hiding it in a lantern. It is your job to return the light to the world. This is a very simple story. It is nothing major. Defeat the bad guy. Regardless of your opinions, if you think, oh, that's so simple, how can this game be fun without a story that leaves me breathless at every turn? Well, it doesn't. The actual story itself isn't over the hills and through the meadow we fight 17 laser dragons. No, the story is super simple and it gets right to the point. There's an evil guy, it's your job to take him out, that's it. No jokes, no games, just simple, point, there, go do it. Now, the story is easy to forget though. Since it is so simple, a lot of times you can be doing something and you have no reason for why you're doing it. It is not the most common kind of thing I've been seeing, but a lot of games like this don't have that well of a story, and a lot of your actions seem mundane by it. You'll oftentimes go through long periods of this game and be like, well, I can't do any of this. Well, why? What's the point? That is one of the main problems with this game. It's just really easy to, forget the story. And because of this, it can be very easy to lose interest in the story and what's going on. However, the reason why I'm saying that the story doesn't need to be complicated is because the actual gameplay is very tight. Mainly because it's fun, it's responsive, and each character class that you can pick up, from the knight, the mage, the assassin, the shaman, I believe his name is, it's actually very unique. You can oftentimes do things that the mage can't do if you're playing as the knight, and if you're the assassin, you run around like crazy fast. Now, despite being simple, the gameplay is pretty hard. It is very hard and extremely hard. There is a learning curve. The moment you step in the game, you're gonna die. Not because the game's unfair, but just because it's hard. The enemies are randomly generated. Each dungeon has a random this and random that. It is very easy for you to forget with the controls and you end up mashing random buttons, like me opening your inventory when you don't want to open your inventory. Now, the actual gameplay is extremely different. Most RPGs have it to where it's either live, in which it's live, everything. Your sword swings at his sword's time. It's more action orientated. Some RPGs are turn-based, where each turn it's something different. Open your inventory takes up a turn. Doing this takes up a turn. Quest of Dungeons is more like that. Despite being on a top-down perspective in which you can press a button to create an action, the enemy actually moves after you. You actually take turns. Each step is not a step, but rather a turn. Moving, enemies will move in cohesive. So like if I move forward, the enemy then gets to move forward. It's a weird dynamic. This game is a mixture of action and turn-based, and it's so smooth. It's really, really addictive too, allowing you to physically move behind a wall while the enemy's trying to move to find you. You can juke enemies out. You can do so many cool, good, wonderful things that the gameplay, despite being super simple of pressing X to do melee and circle to do your held skill, square pick up item, and triangle open inventory, that may be all the controls you have, but the actual gameplay is so well refined. I feel so good. Each enemy is completely different. In fact, some enemies are completely immune to your spell. As a mage, when I try to go melee because an enemy could dodge my spells really fast, it truly did feel to me like, hey, this game is a lot more in depth. You may die a lot and the game might make fun of you for it, but it's so well smooth that if you die, you kind of just want to get back up and fight again. And this leads us to our next little event. If you die in the game, your game is deleted. You get a game over and can no longer play on that file. This is extremely annoying at times. If you die at any moment, regardless, you get sent back to the title screen, back to the character select, and you have to start all the way over from the very, very beginning. This is one of the best things I've seen. In most RPGs, when your character dies, oops, well, start back at checkpoint. And no other RPG I've seen in a long, long time has dying sent you back without a save. To be honest, even if you saved your game and you die, you can't go back to that game. At least from what I remember. In fact, it's very, very unique design choice, and I like it. Now, I know there are some people who will be like, well, what if you save and then die? Me personally, I actually never died after my main game. Even recording this, I was so careful and I had so much pure fun. I never died because I got so good, the enemies I was fighting couldn't handle me. Even some of the bosses were just ramming me and I wasn't phased at all. The gameplay, despite being simple, is so crisp and refined. I can truly say, if you're into, RPGs and dungeon crawlers of any kind, you need to pick this game up. Now, other than the gameplay, what is the other things you do in Quest of Dungeons? Well, you collect treasure. There's gold, there's books, there's spells. There's so many things to collect that you collect a bunch of gold and such. Other than that, you can then sell at shops for, in turn, gold and buy keys for opening doors to more gold. The game has this perpetual system where, despite having an end goal, you never truly feel out of place. Everything feels familiar. You're collecting gold to collect more gold to get more treasure for reasons. Now, this is not to say that the game is repetitive. Despite being all that, the game's actually about exploration and quests. See, if you find a tome, you can get a quest. This quest can award you weapons, XP, gold, all sorts of things. The actual idea is to get a tome to get more XP, to go get more gold, to get more gold, go buy better gear, and go take down the bosses. Which this game has a lot of. Each boss is randomly generated, do different tactics. Each boss is very unique. Some bosses are super easy to kill. Just attack, 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 they're dead. Good. Some bosses, you can't do that because they'll kill you. And that's a big thing that I think Quest of Dungeon excels at. Despite being repetitive, it doesn't feel boring. When I was recording footage, I was only supposed to record around an hour. I ended up recording 2 hours. And I never got bored. Quest of Dungeon is one of the finest, best RPGs, dungeon crawler, dungeon collector, whatever you want to call it, I've played in a long, long time. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. Quest of Dungeons is easy to get involved into. It's easy to get drawn into their world, and it's extremely easy to just sit down, play the game, and die. It's really easy to die, yes, I do this. But even if you die, no matter what point you die as, even if you die right from the beginning, heck, even if you die right at the end, when you're almost there, the game took that from you. And you want it again, don't you? You want to go back and you want to take up your mantle of a sword, or pick up your mage staff, go fire some arrows. Shaman can go kill more wolves. Apparently they have wolf cloaks on, no one knows why. It is so fun to just go up in there and be like, hey, I like this. I like the ability that I can go ahead and do all this stuff and never ever have to worry about it. Then you die and get sent all the way back to square one. To me, that's such a good design choice. This game doesn't have a crutch to lean on. Because of this, it completely leans on itself. And it does it so well. The game is fun. Dungeons are randomly generated, so you never ever face the same one again. Death, yes, is sad, but it's really, really easy to just get lost in the world. Shopkeepers are no longer sell required gear, so the best gear in the game is simply done by exploring. Your XP when you level up makes you truly believe you're leveling up, instead of this, oh, gain 2 hit points. No, you gain a bunch of hit points and some mana. Not only that, but the game is just well refined to a point I can safely say, regardless of if you hate 2D RPGs, this one is so good I can safely say you'll like it. I wish everyone would just go ahead and quickly just get this game. It is so good. If you see Quest of Dungeons on the store or in the PlayStation, Xbox, PC, heck, maybe Nintendo, Switch, and Wii U, I think those have them too, I'm not sure. If you see the game, pick it up. I got it for $8, and it's one of the best games I can say I've played in a long time. If you need a good RPG, if you need an RPG dungeon crawler where you don't need a story and you can overlook some difficulty aspects, the game is one of the best I've played in a long, long time. Thank you for watching this quick little tomato review. I know it wasn't my best review, and I do have some editing issues, I know that, and I really am trying to get better. And to be honest, if you really liked today's episode, I would appreciate if you could like, comment, and subscribe. In the comments, tell me if there's a game you think I should play, go ahead. And I'm just excited for doing more tomato reviews. If you really, really want to see me do more, please let me know which ones you think are the best. If you want to see me play Quest of Dungeons on some gameplay aspects, feel free to ask for that. Anyway, I'd like to go ahead and tell people that I'm going to do a few more not Quest of Dungeon ones, but more or less more tomato review things. This last segment is offhand, everything else was pre-written, so there weren't a million ums in this one, luckily for that. But then again, I can't wait for y'all to be on my next tomato review or next gameplay segment. I should have another tomato review in the works, but right now I'm still trying to find a game for another review. Anyway, thank you all for watching, And I hope to see you all next time. Remember to hail our Lord and Savior, Mr. Sunny. Bye-bye.